Welcome to our 5 on 5. Pleased to be joined today by Kim Wallan, a Republican Oregon State Representative candidate for the Medford seat, formerly held by Sal Esquivel. Good to see you.
Hi.
Thanks
Good
for
to
being
see you
here.
too. Thanks.
All right, so what about your, I know you were formerly on Medford School Board.
Yes.
What motivated you to try and run for the legislature?
Well, I'm also currently on Medford City Council. And when I attended Willamette University when I was going to college, I interned for Senator Fred Hurd way back in 1983. And so I have an idea of how the legislature works. I've always been interested. And then being on school board and city council, I know how state laws affect local, very local issues. And so it seems like the best way to impact that is to be in Salem.
And so, so essentially it's kind of, lack of a better phrase, growing your personal brand, or that's not the best way to put it, but maybe more along the lines of just making more of a difference. Would that be part of it?
Right. Yes. Now that I've really seen what state laws can do at the local level, it gets frustrating especially when the rules seem to be mostly for Portland, for the north of the state. They don't have the same impacts here that they do there. And so I want to be able to help shape things to make it better here for us.
Only a couple weeks till Election Day.
Yes.
If elected, what would your priorities be in the legislature?
My number one priority, and what I hear about most on the campaign trail, is PERS. Just the expense that is at the school board level, it's 30% of the budget. At our city level, it is less than that, but is slated to go up to 22%, and that translates into fewer teachers, fewer police, worse roads, worse sidewalks. I know what that looks like from the budget level, from the locality, and we have to address that. And there are things we can do, and I have some ideas about that, and hopefully we'll be able to get that conversation going.
Could you share some? I know it's a big issue, but could you share some of those ideas?
It is a big issue, but the first thing we have to do is admit that it's a problem. The last legislature didn't even tackle it, and we need to try. And we need to do some things like give people options. They could opt out. Right now, you can't opt out. We could give people the option to buy out. If we could monetize it and fix the cost of it, we could potentially draw down the unfunded liability aspect of it. And there's some things we can do that give people choices about the PERS checks that they're entitled to, that wouldn't be taking them, but give them some choices and help us to manage that debt.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
We'll have much more in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Kim Wallan, Republican Oregon State Representative candidate for the Medford seat.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, you talked about PERS and,
yes.
and trying to fix that. Democrat-dominated legislature.
Yes.
Obviously, we don't know until next year or
right.
a couple weeks, but it's probably fair to say.
Yes.
How would you bridge that divide, or how would you get stuff done? Being a Republican in the legislature.
I have some experience with being in the minority when I was elected to the school board. Even though it's nonpartisan, I was the only Republican who was elected at the time, and we were able to, I could have just been marginalized on the edge and with positions, but I didn't do that. I worked together with people who might have had a different political persuasion to do what was best for the students in Medford. And I would do that again. I don't think we're as far apart as sometimes the sound bites might indicate, and I think that the people in the legislature want to do what's best for Oregon, and I think we can tap into that.
Is there anything the legislature can do to mitigate fire season and what its impact has been here in Southern Oregon?
That is something that, as the fires were burning, I didn't think that the state legislature had much ability to affect that, but I've learned that they do, and there's a smoke caucus, so if I'm elected, I definitely will join that. And the local leaders do have the ability to get in front of the right people to make some changes. And some of it is actually at the state level. We have helicopters that we have stationed in Lakeview that we could reallocate to Cave Junction for this fire season, for example. So there are some things that at the state level you can change. And I am all about trying to find as many of those as possible.
Okay, great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.